Sir, you are muted.
Yes, Amma, good afternoon. Now we will discuss about periodic table and properties of periodic table. This is the outline structure of periodic table. See in this structure, see all S block elements are placed at left side of the periodic table and P block elements are placed at right side of the periodic table. Between S and P, D block elements are placed. F block elements are placed at bottom of the periodic table. See, again S block elements are classified into two groups. 1A group elements and second A group elements. S block elements are classified into two groups. They are 1A group elements and second A group elements. Now see what there is 1A group elements: hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and francium. Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and francium. Actually, hydrogen can be placed in 1A group element as well as 7th A group element, right? Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and francium belongs to 1A group element. 2nd A group elements: beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium. Beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, radium. 1A group elements are also called alkali metals, and 2nd A group elements are also called alkaline earth metals. Now the general electronic configuration of S block elements. S block elements, one second. S block elements. What are the S block elements? S block elements are classified into two groups: 1A group elements and 2A group elements. What they are? Lithium elements: sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and francium. Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium are 1A group elements. Now 2nd A group elements are beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium. Now the general electronic configuration of S block elements: NS122. The outer electronic configuration of S block elements is NS122, right? Now see whatever for 1A group elements, electronic configuration for 1A group elements, that is NS1. Valence shell or outermost electronic configuration of 1A group elements is NS1. Same lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and francium all are having in their valence shell one electron. All are having one electron in their valence shell. Coming to 2nd A group elements, all 2nd A group elements are having two elements in their valence shell, two S electrons in their valence shell. That is, these two are belongs to S block elements. 2nd A group elements electronic configuration, that is NS2. 1A group elements are also called alkali metals. These are also called alkali metals. 2nd A group elements are also called alkaline earth metals. Alkaline earth metals. All S block elements are metals. Soft, these are also called soft metals. What is the character? How can we identify metallic character? They are ready to lose electron. All metals ready to lose electron. If 1A group elements loses its valency electron, then it attains octet configuration. In the same way, 2nd A group elements, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium, if they lose 2 electrons from their valency shell, they attains again octet configuration. That is why 1A group elements and 2nd A group elements or s block elements are ready to lose their valency electrons to get octet configuration. Due to this reason, they are acts like reducing agents, strong reducing agents. 1A group elements are strongest than second A group elements. Generally, s block elements are strong reducing agents. Out of 1A and 2A, which one are very strong reducing agents? Alkali metals, because of they lose, if they lose one electron, they get octet configuration. They are ready to lose valency electron. We are coming to here second A group elements. In say from second A group elements, we want to remove 2 electrons. All 2A group elements ready to lose 2 electrons. That is a these are also acts like reducing agents. Is this clear up to here?
Yes, sir.
Next one, coming to p block elements. Now all p block elements are placed at right side of the periodic table. See, my p block element starts from 13th group. Actually, long form of the periodic table contains 18 CM 18 vertical columns and horizontal rows. Horizontal rows are called periods and vertical columns are called groups. Now count how many groups are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 vertical columns are there. 80 vertical columns are called groups. Now count how many horizontal rows are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and same. This is 8th one. Sorry, 7 periods. 7 periods, 18 groups. See, each period starts with S block element, 1A group element, alkali metals, and ends with noble gases. Any period starts with alkali metal and ends with noble gases. Now, p block elements are placed at the right side of the periodic table. They are starts from 13th group. 13, 14, this is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. P block elements are starts from 13th group elements. These are also called 3rd A, 4th A, 5th A, 6th A, 7th, 8th group element. These are also called inert gases or noble gases. Now coming to p block elements. Now outer electronic configuration of p block elements. P block. Outer electronic configuration of p block elements is NS, NS2, NP, 126. NS2, NP, 126. Now for 13 group elements are 3rd A group elements. What are my 3rd A group elements? Knowing of group elements are most important. If you know the group element, then also you can easily identify hybridization. Otherwise, you can't do. If you want to find hybridization of an element in a given molecule or of an atom in a given molecule, we must know the group number. That is why here we will discuss today group number. You can easily identify the group number because of group number represents number of outermost electrons in their valency shell. Group number always represents number of outermost electrons in their valency shell, right? Now 3A group elements. What are there? Boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, thallium. Newly introduced element is nihonium. Actually, with the newly introduced elements, no molecules are found. That is a len only in group wise old elements. Now coming to 4th A group elements. What is outer electronic configuration of 3A group elements? NS2, NP1. NS2, NP1. Now 14th group elements. Or these are also called 4th A group elements. Now I am writing here, Amma. Now 4th A. fourth A group elements: carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, lead. Now fifth A group elements. Fifth A group elements are nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. Nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth. Now 6A group elements: oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, and polonium. 7th A group elements or 17th group elements: fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and astatine. Now 18th group elements or inert gases are there: helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon. Helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. All these are gases. That is, these are called inert gases or noble gases. Now see, if we want to write electronic configuration of 14th group elements or 4th A group elements, NS1, sorry, NS2, NP1. This is the outer electronic configuration of 3rd A group elements. And NS2, NP2 is the outer electronic configuration of 4th A group elements. NS2, NP3, NS2, NP4, NS2, NP5, NS2, NP6, NS2, PMR, NS2, NP6. NS2, NP6 is the outer electronic configuration for 0 group elements. Once copy up to here, Amma. Group wise electronic configurations are important one. So copy Amma. Yes, Amma. Now coming to D block elements. Say D block elements are starts from scandium. This is called it is 3D series, 4D series, 5D series, and this is classified into 6D series. 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D. In 3D series, 3D orbital is involved. If you want to write electronic configuration of scandium, atomic number of scandium, that is 21. Right? Try to write its electronic configuration, that is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d1, 3d1. In this series, from scandium to zinc, we are using only 3D orbital. We are using only 3D orbital. That is why it is said to be 3D series. We want to write electronic configuration of chromium. See, here we have two exceptional electronic configurations. What they are for chromium and copper? That is 4s1, 3d5 for chromium, because of half-filled orbitals are more stable. For copper, 4s1, 3d10. Atomic number of copper is 29 and atomic number of chromium is 24. These are the exceptional electronic configurations, and these two are previous year NEET questions. What is the electronic configuration of chromium? That is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s1, 3d5. Half-filled orbitals are more stable. Due to this reason, chromium shows different electronic configuration. In the same way, 4s1, 3d10 for copper. Right? Now, next one, Amma. 4D series starts from yttrium to cadmium, and 5D series starts from lanthanum. Same, after lanthanum we have hafnium. Between lanthanum and hafnium, elements are belongs to lanthanides. between actinum and rutherfordium. Elements belongs to actinides. Actually, lanthanum and actinum belongs to D block elements. Lanthanum and actinum belongs to D block elements, not F block elements. Lanthanum F block elements actually F block elements are starts after lanthanum. Actually, F block elements are classified into two types: lanthanides and actinides. 4F series is called lanthanides and 5F series is called actinides. Lanthanides are starts after lanthanum. Lanthanides are starts after lanthanum. That is why these are called lanthanides. See, now actinide starts after actinum. Lanthanum and actinum belongs to D block elements, not F block elements. Once remember, most important points. Now, 5D series starts from lanthanum and ends with mercury. Actinum 5D 6D series starts from actinum, ends with copernicium. Ends with copernicium. See, element starts from coming to 3D series. In 3D series, if you are taking example, in 3D series, elements present from scandium to copper called transition elements. Elements starts from yttrium to silver are called transition elements. Lanthanum to aurum, gold are called transition elements. Generally, zinc, cadmium, mercury does not belongs to transition series. So how can we find transition elements? Simple, Alma. If elements with completely filled d orbitals, elements with completely filled d orbitals are not transition elements. Elements with completely filled d orbitals are not transition elements. If you want to write electronic configuration, one check it, electronic configuration of zinc, cadmium, mercury. Zinc atomic number 30. Zinc atomic number 30. Writes its electronic configuration, that is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d10. Completely filled outer orbitals. Zinc having completely filled orbitals. So they are not transition elements, just they belongs to only D block elements. From this rule, we have one statement, that is all transition elements belongs to D block element. All transition elements belongs to D block, but all the D block elements are not a transition elements. All D block elements are not a transition metals. Most important one, Amma. They give questions like this, assertions, reason type questions. All the transition elements belongs to all the transition elements, all the transition metals belongs to D block. But all D block elements are not a transition elements because of generally zinc, cadmium, mercury belongs to D block, but their outer valence shell filled with completely filled orbitals. That is a zinc, cadmium, mercury are not transition element. Is this clear for you? Any doubts, Amma? About how to find transition elements? Yes, Amma. Next one. If you see, in every year NEET exam, compulsory one question came from periodic table. So all NEET students must learn about complete periodic table. Learn from atomic number of hydrogen 1 to 118 organism, with all elements present in lanthanides and all elements present in actinides with electronic configurations. You must learn the electronic configurations and entire periodic table. From there you get easily one question. You can easily answer one question, right? Most important one, periodic table, and it is very easy, right? Next one. Now coming to lanthanides, F block elements. What is outer electronic configuration of D block elements? D block elements, outer electronic configuration of D block elements. N-1D, N-1D, 1 to 10, NS2 or NS1 to 2. What about F block elements? For F block, valence initial or outermost electronic configuration is n-2 F 1 to 14. Maximum number of electrons present in F orbital. Generally, F orbital contains, this is F subshell. F subshell contains how many orbitals? 7 boxes. Boxes are called orbitals. So, S is subshell, P is the subshell, D is the subshell, and F is the subshell. S, P, D, F are all are subshells, not orbitals. The subshells contains orbitals. See, F subshell contains how many orbitals? 7 orbitals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. First orbital, second one, third one, 4, 5, 6, 7. The maximum number of electrons present in one orbital. Maximum number of electrons present in one box.
2, sir.
Yes, Amma. 2. So maximum number of electrons present in F orbital, 14. That is why electronic configuration starts here n-2 F 1 to 14. n-1d 0 to 1. Again ns 1 to 2. We can write 0 to 2 also. Electronic configurations are most important one. See, Amma, already you know the electronic configurations. Very easy, but they are previous year need questions. So don't forget to learn once again electronic configurations. Right? Outer electronic configuration of S block elements. NS122. For P block, NS2, NP126. All these are most important one. Once again, remember them. Let's copy it. Electronic configurations. This is for D block. This is for D block. It is for F block. It is for S block, and it is for P block. Don't forget to learn entire periodic table. From periodic table, we have one question, and from the periodic properties, we have one question. If you learn periodic table and periodic properties, you can easily answer 2 questions in NEET exam. So you can easily get 8 marks. Easy chapter and top priority chapter. You can easily answer. From chemistry, you can easily get more than 150 marks by single revision. If you revise 3 times, 2 to 3 times, you can get 180 marks, full marks. By single revision, you can easily get more than 150 marks. Must have proper plan. Completed? Now coming to F block elements. Generally, F block elements are located at bottom of the periodic table. F block elements are located at bottom of the periodic table, and these 2 are again classified into 2 series. One is said to be 4F series, that is called lanthanides. Second one is 5F series, that is called actinides. They are called actinides. In lanthanides, first element is cerium with atomic number 58, and the last element is lutetium. Cerium, praseodymium, neodymium, promethium, samarium, europium, gadolinium, terbium, dysprosium, holmium, erbium, thulium, ytterbium, lutetium. Now coming to actinides. First element is thorium, protactinium, uranium, neptunium, plutonium, americium, curium, berkelium, californium, enstinium, fermium, mendelevium, nobelium, lawrencium. Same. In previous year NEET exam, they asked question like this. Lanthanides are starts from and ends with. Starts from cerium 58, ends with lutetium with atomic number. Don't forget atomic number 71. Actinide starts from thorium 90 to lawrencium 103. You must remember first element and last element with atomic numbers. Right? This is about periodic table. Now coming to periodic properties. Before learning of periodic properties, we will discuss one important one, that is nomenclature of elements with atomic number above 100. Nomenclature of elements with atomic number above 100. Most important one, or greater than 100. Most important one. In recent years, if we observe, questions came from IUPAC nomenclature of elements with atomic number above 100. They give match the following type questions. So if you want to write the name of the element greater than 100, first we learn some rules, in which first one, if 0 is came, then it is said to be nil. NIL, nil. A symbol of the nil is small n. 1 can be represented as, 1 is called un, u. 2 called bi, symbol is small b. 3 called tri, small t. 4, number 4 called, can anyone know number 4 called different one? Number 4 called
Quad.
Quad. Number 5 called pent, small p. 6 hex. 7 oct. Sorry. 7 called different number.
Sept.
Septum. 7 sept. Different one. 8 called, yes, 8
Oct.
oct. S H. 9, number 9.
Non.
N. Not no number. N. Small difference from organic chemistry to inorganic chemistry. 0 called nil, 1 called un, 2 called bi, 3 called tri, 4 called quad, 5 called pent, 6 called hex, 7 called sept, 8 called oct, 9 n. Right? And most important note, that is name of the element ends with letter IUM. Name of the element ends with IUM. Most important one. For example, if you want to give name of 101, element with atomic number 101. Say 1 called unwrite, one called un. Always write first letter capital F, capital one, un. What about zero? Zero called nil, un, nil. Again, one called un, un, and name of the atom, name of the element ends with ium, em, unnil, unium, unnil, unium. How can we give the symbol? Un for one, for zero, n small one. Again one for u. U is the symbol of 101. Once copy, Emma. Copy it. Anil, anium. This is IUM, MM, M. What is 101 Mendelevium? Copied, Emma? Tarim, Maheshwari, Sanvika.
Yes, sir.
Next, 101. 101 completed. What about 102? What is the IUPAC name of 102? One. How can we write one? Un. Again, zero called nil. Nil, two. How can we call two? By em. Anil bayam. Symbol? Symbol of 102. Kalahari, Maheshwari, Sanvika. Symbol of 102 is. How can we give the symbol for 102?
UNB, sir.
UNB. Try to write IUPAC name of element with 105. One called un, again zero called nil, 5 pent, un, nil, pentium. Name of any element ends with IUM. Un represents 1, nil represents 0. How can we represent 5? That is pent. Anil, pentium. Symbol UNP. Now, how can we give the name of 111, 111? Atomic number 111. One see the rules, Amma. One, un, again one, un, again one, un, and name of the element ends with IUM. An, anium. An, anium. Un, again un, again un. Because of here we are 115. What is the IUPAC name of element with atomic number 115? Small network issue, amma. Hmm? 115. And again 1. And 5 called pent. Pentium. Pentium. 115 called Pentium. Next one, last one. How can we give the name of 119? Again, 9 NEM. UUE. Copy amma. Copy it amma. Copy it amma. Yes, sir. Right. And next one, Syama, this is not a class. Here we are learning only basics, right? In class session, we are explaining about complete each and every element. Next one, periodic properties. Periodic properties. What are periodic properties? Actually, some properties are repeated in periodic table. Actually, some properties are repeated in periodic table. Such type of properties are called periodic properties, and the phenomenon is called periodicity. Some properties are repeated in entire periodic table. When properties are repeated at similar electronic configuration, if two elements attaining similar electronic configuration in their valency shell, they show similar property. They show similar properties. Such type of properties are called periodic properties, and the phenomenon is known as periodicity. Is this clear for you? How can we call periodic properties? What they are called periodic properties? When they are called periodic properties? If you are taking any two elements, for example, take sodium. Sodium atomic number 11. Right, it is electronic configuration, that is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1, 3s1. Now take magnesium atomic number 12. Right, its electronic configuration, that is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. Now write electronic configuration of lithium, lithium atomic number 3. Its electronic configuration 1s2, 2s1. Now beryllium atomic number 4. Its electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2. Now tell me which elements shows similar properties, or which elements are having similar electronic configuration or similarity in outermost shell. See here, where in lithium has one electron in their valency shell. In the same way, sodium have one electron in their valency shell. Now coming to beryllium and magnesium. Beryllium have 2 electrons in their valency shell. Next, magnesium also having 2 electrons in their valency shell. Now similarity is observed in beryllium and magnesium, lithium and sodium. Beryllium and magnesium and lithium and sodium. See, outer electronic configurations in sodium 3s1, outer electrons in magnesium 2, 3s2. Now, can we observe any similarity in sodium and magnesium? No. So, if we are observing when we are observing lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium, see in all these elements, outer electronic configuration is same. If you are observing beryllium, magnesium, next elements, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium and radium, and all these elements are having 2 electrons in their valence shell. If we are observing similarities in electronic configuration, right? in such cases or in such time, some properties are repeated. Such type of properties are called periodic properties. Clear? Now, most important periodic properties are, first one is atomic size or ionic size. Atomic size or ionic size. Second one, and most important one, that is ionization energy. Ionization energy. Third one, electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy. Fourth one, electronegativity. And fifth one, electropositivity. Sixth one, metallic nature. Actually, these 5 are most important for NEET. Only these 5. If you are observing, questions are always came from only these 5. We can easily answer on metallic and non-metallic nature, basic nature and acidic nature of oxides, right? But these 5 are most important one. If you know these five things, you can easily answer question from periodicity or periodic properties. One question compulsory came from periodic table and one question compulsory came from periodic properties. Which first one? Atomic size, ionization energy, electron affinity, electronegativity, electropositivity. Electropositivity. Now see, first one, what is atomic size? Atomic size. Consider this is an atom and it is nucleus. This is the nucleus. This is outermost shell. For example, these are inner shells or inner orbits. See, in any atom, last shell called valency shell. Valency shell. And last but one called ultimate shell. If you are taking nth shell, this is called n-1 shell. And what about this one? n-2. If you are taking n is the valency shell, outermost orbit. Second or last but one called n-2, last but 2 called n-2. Or outermost shell called valency shell, or last shell called valency shell, and it is represented by n. Last but 1 ultimate, and last but 2 penultimate. This is called ultimate shell. Ultimate shell. This is penultimate shell. These things are most important one. Now see, how can we define atomic size? The distance or atomic radius. Sometimes we can also call it is atomic radius. All are same, atomic size or atomic radius. Now, how can we define atomic radius? This is outermost orbit, right? Valency electron. Now, the distance between center of the nucleus to outermost orbit. Center of the nucleus to outermost orbit called atomic radius. Distance between the nucleus to outermost orbit. Or how can you define different ways? Distance between the nucleus to electron present in outermost orbit. Right? It is said to be atomic radius. Distance between the nucleus to outermost electron. Distance between the nucleus to outermost electron called atomic radius. Radius can be measured in meters, centimeters, nanometers, next time angstrom units, etc. in different ways. Again, atomic size or atomic radius can be classified into different ways. What are covalent radius, metallic radius, van der Waals radius. Generally, covalent radius is observed in non-metals. Metallic radius is observed in metals. Van der Waals radius is observed in only zero group elements, right? No, two non-bonding atoms. Two non-bonding atoms. For example, if you are taking non-metal like Cl2, then Cl2 is made by covalent bonds, right? Mutual sharing of electrons takes place here. This is the nucleus of first chlorine atom. This is another chlorine atom. This is the nucleus of second chlorine atom. This is this is the distance between the nucleus to nucleus. Now, how can we define covalent radius? It is the exactly half of the internuclear distance between. Exactly half of the internuclear. This is nucleus to nucleus distance called internuclear distance. Exactly. See, how can you define covalent radius? Generally, covalent radius is observed in only non-metals. If you are taking Cl2, O2, Br2, H2, right? Almost electron negativity difference is 0. Then only covalent radius can be calculated. Now, see, how can we define? From here to here distance called internuclear distance between two chlorine atoms. How can we define now? It is the exactly half of the internuclear distance between two atoms which are held by covalent bond called covalent radius. Now, if you are taking metals, in the same way, metallic radius also observed, defined exactly half of the distance between half of the internuclear distance between two atoms. One metal, another metal. This is nucleus of first metal, second metal. So this is internuclear distance between metals. Half of the distance called metallic radius. Now, how can we define van der Waals radius? This is important one. Sema, this is, for example, this is AB molecule. This is the center of nucleus of A. This is a nucleus of B. Now I am taking CD molecule. This is C. This is D. C, D. This is atom C, atom D. This is nucleus of C and this is the nucleus of D. So these two are AB molecule and CD molecule are two non-bonding molecules. There is no bond present between AB and CD. Now, see, exactly from here to here distance called nucleus. Internuclear distance between B and C. Exactly half of the internuclear distance between B and C called van der Waals radius. Van der Waals radius. Now, van der Waals radius can be calculated in two non-bonding atoms. Is there any bond observed between B and C? Is there any bond observed between B and C? No. Right? Van der Waals radius always calculated for two non-bonding molecules. Exactly, how can you define? Exactly, it is the half of the internuclear distance between two atoms of two non-bonding molecules. Two atoms B and C of two non-bonding molecules A, B and C, D. Right? This is about van der Waals radius. So, can you tell me out of van der Waals radius and metallic radius, covalent radius, which one is greater? You can easily answer by saying bonds. Tell me, ma. Say distance between two Cl and this is two metals and this is two atoms in non-bonding. One generally see, ma, if you can easily observe which distance is more. Van der Waals radius is more than that of van der Waals radius is more than that of metallic radius, more than that of covalent radius, right? Because of covalent bonds are stronger. Covalent bonds are stronger, almost CM, two atoms approaches each other. Covalent bonds are stronger than metallic bonds are than van der Waals bonds. Because van der Waals bonds are generally weak bonds. We can easily break them. Right? Any doubts in today's session? Tomorrow we will discuss about periodic properties. Remaining periodic properties are there. How can we calculate ionic size in isoelectronic species? Atomic, next one, ionization energy, electron affinity, electron negativity. Next one, electropositivity. Any doubts in today's session, Amma? Any doubts in today's session? Okay, Amma. Bye for now. We will meet in next class. Thank you, Amma.
Thank you, sir.